Hi guys. So today we are going to work on a beach bestie. This is from 651 vinyl. This is kind of like a cup holder for the beach, or you could put it in the lawn, anywhere that the ground is soft enough that you can stick this in. And this is in a coral color, but your drink can go right in here. You can drop your phone in here. I tested my daughter's iPhone 8 Plus with a case on, and it fits in here. She just has a regular slim case. I don't know if it would fit with like an OtterBox. And then your sunglasses can hang on the side and just sticks in the ground. And we're also going to use the citrus print. This is Orcal 651 printed right there at 651 vinyl. The print we're going to use, and we're going to layer. We're going to do an offset. We're going to do that on here, and I'm going to show you how I use the Hinge method. So we're going to layer with registration boxes, and I have a video on how I make these in Silhouette Studio on my channel. I will link to that in the description, but I'm just going to show you how I do that real quick today. And I'm going to show you the Hinge method again. I haven't done a video on that in a long time, how I center it and line it up to get that on that surface. And we're going to do that. And then we're also going to use the medium tack transfer tape. This is my most favorite transfer tape in the whole entire world. This is from 651 vinyl as well. And of course my stab and grab and my squeegee. And so I've gone ahead and cut my vinyl, because this doesn't matter if you're using a Cricut or a Silhouette or a scan and cut or any other cutting machine. That part is going to be dependent on your machine. The rest of it, it doesn't matter what you're using, it's all going to be the same. So I'm just going to cut apart this right here. And this is just a black glossy adhesive vinyl, like your Orcal 651, and we're just going to go ahead and weed this. And you will notice that I have these little black boxes down here at the bottom, and I just did those in my software. If you're using a Silhouette Cameo, again, I have a video, you can go watch that. I will link it. I think it's not any kind of proprietary thing that Silhouette uses to make those. I literally draw a rectangle in the software, and then I duplicate it along the bottom, and then I just make sure that I cut it on both layers in the same spot. So even if you're not Silhouette, the video might be beneficial to you if you can translate that, if it's not going to confuse you more watching it in a different software. But I literally just draw rectangles. But we're going to use those to help line our layers up. And this is an offset, and I did that. Silhouette has a function that allows me to do an offset. So I did that, but the registration boxes are super duper easy. So again, we're just going to weed this out. This is my little happy crab. Both of these are designs from the Silhouette Design Store, and you do not have to own a Silhouette to use these. You can purchase them and download them as SVGs. So if your software allows you to use the SVG file format, then you can use these. They have a personal use option and a commercial use option. So there's our black, and then let's weed our, I have to do this as one big piece. You can see, I always tell people to test cut. You can kind of see a little test cut right here, especially if you're working with an unfamiliar material. And I just, anytime I change material or change my blade or use a different machine, I've got 3 cameos, I'll always do a test cut so I don't end up cutting half a sheet of something the wrong setting. So we're just going to weed this, and this printed vinyl just weeds so nice, because again, it is Orcal 651 vinyl. And if you follow my Facebook page, ElleBee Creates, you'll see that a couple weeks ago I was actually at the 651 vinyl warehouse in Louisville, Kentucky, and we got to go on a tour, and they actually print this right there on the spot. So it is very fresh. They even have designers there, so I don't know if all their designs are designed in-house. I'm not sure about that. I know this one was designed in-house. We got to meet, I met one of the designers. His name's Chris. Super, super nice guy. But they designed these patterns there in-house. So now we're going to cut these apart. I cut an extra one of these just because I had space. These are going to go on the side. But we are going to layer these just because, as you can see, when you're doing text in these printed patterns, because there's so much going on, it can be hard to read your words. If you do an offset, it kind of gives an edge to it so you can see what you're doing. And then we've got our clear transfer tape here. Again, this is the medium tack transfer tape from 651 vinyl. It's my absolute favorite. So I'm just going to cut a piece off. And you can, sometimes you can reuse these pieces. I mean, it's pretty cheap. I think you get like, I don't know if it's 10 yards or, can't remember. It's like $10 for a roll, and a roll will last you for quite a while. Totally worth it. Okay, so this layer is going to be on top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of place this right in the middle here. All right. I'm going to take my squeegee. And I love these mint colored tools from 651. You see I've got my squeegee and I've got my stab and grab. They also have like a craft blade, kind of like an X-Acto knife, and the little blades in those are replaceable. I need to order a mint one. I haven't got one yet. I just got them back in stock. And the pen, if you're one of the pen users. And I'm just going to peel this off the backing, and then I'm going to take my backing and I'm going to place it back on top, but above my registration boxes, okay? Again, I have another video where I do this in detail. So if I'm going too fast, make sure you check out that link. And then I'm going to place this on top, and I'm just lining up those boxes, okay? And you want to get it right on top. And this is why I have several of them. And I know people usually fuss at me because they're like, you wasted vinyl because of all that space. But you know what? I would rather waste a little bit of space of my vinyl and know that my two pieces are going to line up exact, rather than sit there and try to mess with it and end up wasting two whole big pieces because I did not get them lined up right. Okay, so now when you put them together, you don't want to get any little bubbles or anything in between. So we're just going to lift this up, okay? And I've kind of got this stuck. See, I have this stuck down to my table. That's why I had a little bit of a tail on this app tape, and this just kind of holds this to my table so that we're not sliding anywhere. Just going to lift this up, and I'm going to, I know it's hard for you to see, but I'm just kind of burnishing this down as I slide the back off of my vinyl, okay? So we're just going to kind of slide that there. So now we have both of these are transferred onto one piece without any bubbles or anything. So I'm going to take my scissors, and these are great for if you do a lot of cutting. I have two pairs. This is kind of like my paper vinyl pair, and then I have a fabric pair. But they reduce fatigue because they stay open. So it's all squeezing and no pulling open. And I'll drop a link to these. They've changed them since I bought them. I bought these like 8 or 9 years ago, and they're Fiskars. So if they ever get dull, you can send them in and they'll sharpen them. Now they are white and orange. But I'm just going to trim this down. Okay, so now we've trimmed it down, right? And I cut off these registration boxes. So we have our first one, right? Perfectly lined up. And then we're going to do the same thing for this little guy, right? And I have this other piece that I saved. So we're just going to line him up here. Same thing. And again, I'm leaving that extra space below here. Just going to burnish this down. Peel this off. And then we're going to lay the backing on here, exposing those registration marks. Can you see that? And then we're going to come back over here and whoop, up, 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 up. Oh, and I prematurely got one of those stuck on there, which you don't want to do. If that happens, we're going to sacrifice that one, okay? So that's why I have several. That first one got stuck too soon. It happens. I do this all the time, and it even happens to me. We're sacrificing that one, okay? Don't stand there and try to salvage it. We have 2 more, all right? So I'm trying to kind of hold this up with my other finger so I don't do it again. So don't stress. That's why I try to have several of these, so that if that happens, because it does happen. And also, because I'm filming, I can't get my head right on top of my project like I usually do. So we're just gonna line these up. I'm a little off on the right there, but hopefully nobody will notice. Burnish that down, right? And again, I'm sticking it to my table a little bit so we don't slide around anywhere. I'm going to lift this back up, hold this back so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just burnishing. Let me see if we can zoom in a little bit here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm burnishing this down as I'm releasing it from the back. Right, you see that? So that I'm not getting air bubbles in between those pieces of vinyl. Okay, so you see? And then we're just gonna cut off around those registration marks. And I know I'm shaking you when I move it. I'm sorry. All right, let's see. Let's move you back out a little more. Okay, so we're going to trim this up. He's a little bit off where I was off with that, but not enough for me to get bent all out of shape. Okay. Everybody's going to be at the beach and hanging out and relaxing. Nobody's going to pay attention to that. All right. And then again, I cut an extra one of these just because I had the space for it. So for these Beach Besties, 651 Vinyl has on the page where all the Beach Besties are, they have like maybe 5 colors of these. On that page where all the colors are, there is an item for a template. And when you download it, there are... there's a template for the back, the sides, and it has both pieces for the sides, and then a template for this side. And you can, like, I just cut the side ones, just cut them out of the piece, and then I used the other ones to determine how big I wanted the other pieces so that they would fit. So let's do a little crab first. I'm gonna do the easy stuff first. These are just some alcohol pads. I buy these by a box of 1,000. It's just easier for me than trying to keep alcohol. And I've been handling this and playing with it, so I just want to make sure I get all of my oils and dirt and stuff off of here. So I'm just going to clean it real quick. We're just going to let that dry. But I'm going to do this on the sides. This is going to go here, and then this is going to go around the side. Sorry about that. You can hear my dog. Don't have anybody to watch my dog while I'm filming, so you get to listen to him. Okay. So for the back, this one's going to be pretty easy. We're just going to put him right here. And again, we don't want to get any bubbles. So what I'm going to do, and this is just how I do it. This isn't the only way. This is the Linda way. Let me just burnish this on here real good. Okay. This is just the Linda way. Maybe it'll help some of you. If you've got your own way of doing this and it works for you, by all means, keep it up. I'm gonna cut that off there. I'm gonna leave it on the bottom part. So I'm just gonna figure out where I want this, and I'm going to place it right there. I'm just gonna stick this top part down here. All right, burnish it real good. And then just like we did when we were layering, I'm just gonna lift this bottom part up here, and I'm just gonna work this down so you can see this. This just helps to get any bubbles out, keep it from getting anything. And this is a fairly thin design, so there's really not gonna be a lot of bubbles anyway. If it was like a solid, it would definitely matter more because there's more chance of bubbles to get trapped in there. Your pen is great for popping bubbles out. If you don't have a pen, you need to get one. Okay, and then when you remove your app tape, I see a lot of people pull straight up. When you remove your app tape, fold it back and pull it back on itself, just like this. And your app tape will come right off. Easy peasy, right? So how does he look? Little happy crab, right? All right. For these side pieces, I'm not even going to use app tape. We're going to cut them apart. Okay. Same thing as I did before. I'm going to pull this back. I'm going to cut a little bit off, right? Just so we're just exposing just a little bit. Get this lined up. Let's trim this right along the line, okay? I'm going to get this lined up where we want it. Press it down, and this is a big piece, so we do want to avoid bubbles. Okay, so I'll lift it up, try to kind of hold this back so you can see what I'm doing here. It's kind of hard to do. I'm just going to use my squeegee and push it down. I'm going to go back in with my hand, smooth it out a little bit. Put a little bubble right there. You know what? An hour out in the sun and those bubbles will be gone. And again, I can take my pen and poke those. All right, and so over here, I'm going to trim up this side right here. Okay, so that's that way. I'm just going to trim off a little bit of the top of this. Okay, that just gives me an anchor point. Okay, so I'm going to anchor that down, and then again, get it started. Okay. And again, I'm just going to kind of work it down while I pull off the back. All right. There we go. Now my sides. Cute and fruity. Cute and fruity, right? All right, so now here comes the fun part. So this stands up on its own. So we want to center this along the back, okay? And we want to kind of get it lined up nice and even. And I'm going to do what we call the hinge method. This is a nice small item. It's kind of easy to work with. I do this a lot on my big wooden signs. You know, when I'm working with something that's, you know, 12 inches by 12 inches or 24 inches or even bigger. When you've got something really big and you want to get it centered with your ruler and make sure it's perfect. And blue painter's tape is your buddy, or green painter's tape, or you know, you can even use a scrap piece of vinyl. I mean, I could have saved a piece of vinyl that I trimmed off and use it. So I'm just going to cut off a piece of this blue painter's tape. Okay. And I'm going to place it a little off center. Okay. You can put it in the middle. It doesn't really matter. So if you want to be real exacting and get out your ruler and make sure everything's perfectly centered, you can absolutely do that. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it because that's what I do with my shirts, with everything. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it to make sure it looks center, it looks good to me, and I'm going to tape this down, okay? So I'm going to tape it down. So now I can let go and I know that it is centered where I want it to be, okay? And then I'm going to peel this back. And one thing you want to do that I forgot to do, because I always forget something, is make sure that you burnish this down really well before you start. Okay. Don't do like me. Do as I say, not as I do. So make sure that's burnished down really good first, because you're going to peel this back. Okay. It's really easy to burnish on a hard surface, not so easy to burnish on the fly. Okay, I'm going to take my handy dandy scissors here, cut that off. All right, don't worry about getting it right up on the tape, it's not a big deal. And then I'm going to take my handy dandy 651 vinyl scraper while holding this up, again, because we want to avoid bubbles. I'm just going to start scraping it down along right, and burnish that down. Okay, so now we've got it in place. Our tape can go. You can save the tape for another one if you're doing a bunch of these in a row. Just do what I do, stick it on the desk, use it for the next one. All right, so now we've got this first half down. Then we're going to do what we've been doing the whole time. Lift this up, right? And then just start scraping. Again, it helps if you've burnished your item really well first. So you want it to stick to your transfer tape really well. Of course, I've always got to have one type of technical difficulty in every video. Just so y'all know I'm human. Okay, so we're just going to keep going through and doing this a little. If you peel off your vinyl, if you pull the whole vinyl off the backing and go to place it on your item, you kind of get one shot. Once it's stuck on there, it's stuck on there. And if it's not perfectly kind of against it, you risk getting those air bubbles and trapping that under there, and this helps to get that nice smooth finish without the air bubbles. And you can also do this with like the wet method. If you wanted to, I have a really ancient video on the wet method, and I need to do another new one of those. So again, we're going to burnish this down really good. Okay, and again, when you go to pull up your transfer tape, don't pull it straight up. Okay, fold it back on itself, right? Fold it back on itself, and then just slide it back, and it'll come off easy peasy. There we go, Beach Babe. So there is our Beach Bestie. We got our Happy Crab. We got our citrus on the side, and then we've got our offset. So you can go stick this in the sand, stick it in the ground if it's soft enough. Your drink, and it even fits in there with a koozie. So this is just a regular soda can, so you can fit some bigger things in there. You could fit your phone, like I said. My daughter's 8+ fits in there with a slim case on it. Your sunglasses can hang off the side, and you are good to go. Keep the sand out of all your stuff. You can pick these up at 651 Vinyl along with your scraper, your stab and grab. These are my favorite. I'm in love with this mint color. And of course the citrus print. They also have this in heat transfer vinyl. And my favorite app tape in the whole entire world, their medium tack transfer tape is on there as well. So let me know what you would put on your Beach Bestie and what color you would get. I will put links to everything in the description so you can find it really easily. And have a great summer, you guys. Thanks for watching.